Hi there, Tracy from Kazadan's Equestrian, and welcome to this week's video. If you're new to the channel, thank you for having a look. Please don't forget, have a look around, subscribe, like, click the notification bell and share around as much as you can. The more support I get, the more likely I am to be able to keep this channel going. This week's video, I'm trying to unscramble some of the hemp hype. I want to talk about what it can do, what it can't do, but in particular, enable you to understand the terms that are used so you can pick the right product and also read the label to make sure you're getting a good product for your horse. So a lot of hemp products on in the market at the moment. It's the in thing, and with that comes a lot of substandard products and products not particularly marketed in the right way. So if you're able to understand some of the terminology and what to look for in your hemp product label, I think this is going to help a long way. If you don't want to watch through the whole lot and you're only looking for one particular section, I've got some timestamps in the description below so you can jump directly towards the little bit that you want to get the information on. So firstly, hemp versus cannabis. What is the difference? They're both the same type of plant. However, they're a different category, and they're a different category based on the amount of THC in the product. I'll be explaining that term a little bit later. However, what you need to know is THC is the component that gives a high. So when people are talking about hemp, they're talking about the particular plant that has very little to no THC in it. So hemp has started to regain some popularity that it had many years ago due to some legal changes, etc., but also due to our understanding of how it does affect our body. And there really are some, I guess, unexplainable, fantastic health benefits. So the first thing to understand about this is the fact that we actually have what is called an endocannabinoid system in our bodies. In fact, all animals have an endocannabinoid system. The word endo means internal, so this is not something that we're taking. This is something that all of our bodies naturally have, and it is used for many, many functions in the body. There's still a lot to learn about this system in the body, but it is thought to have significant effects on things like anxiety, sleep, appetite, mood, your memory, and even reproduction. So remember, you or your animal doesn't need to use cannabis to have an endocannabinoidal system. This system already exists in the body, and it already affects these systems. Animals actually all produce their own cannabinoids, and these cannabinoids work within the endocannabinoidal system to maintain homeostasis, or try to keep things the same within the body. The thing is, this system only produces these cannabinoids as needed, so it's really hard to ascertain what a typical level is in a person, and this leads to some of the confusion around dosage, etc., if you're using external cannabinoids. We and all of our animals have receptors in the body that bind to these cannabinoids, and this is what helps a signaling process occur within the body in many of these systems. So when the cannabinoid binds to the receptor, the effect of this is different depending on the location of the receptor and the type of receptor. And remembering, this is not only in us, this is in your horse, in your dog, in your cat, in fact, in all animals, this already exists. This is such a complex system, and our researchers really haven't gotten to the bottom of it, which is why sometimes you can get effects that you don't know about. sometimes why it's worth trying on things that there's been no other resolution for. But the researchers really haven't narrowed down the complexity of this system. But what they have worked out is the likelihood of the effects in particular systems. As I hinted at before, these types of systems are things like appetite and metabolism, pain and inflammation, digestive processes, mood, learning and memory, many skin issues, and lots of things associated with nerve and muscle function. Now, given the horse is such an athlete and so much of its body weight is muscle, you can see that there really could be some great benefits for this. So at the moment, experts think that this endocannabinoidal system is very much tied in with homeostasis and keeping those systems I just talked about regulated and in the same range. So for example, homeostasis may be your neutral is a low pain level. So if your pain level goes up, we want to bring it back to neutral, and the endocannabinoidal system does help with this. So if we have all this inside, why is it do we need some of the external things, and how do we get external assistance for this system? In comes phytocannabinoids. Now, phytocannabinoids are cannabinoids produced by a plant, in particular the cannabis plant. So there are two major phytocannabinoids. Tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, is one of the major cannabinoids found in cannabis plants. THC is the compound that actually creates the high or has psychoactive properties. Now, if you remember back to the beginning of the video, hemp is actually a plant that is being categorized out of the cannabis types of plants that have little to no THC in them. So hemp is actually a category of the cannabis plants that gives you some of the other benefits, but there is no psychoactive property and there is no high. The other major cannabinoid in the cannabis plants is CBD, or cannabidiol. The CBD part does not bind to the receptors that we have in our endocannabinoid system, so it doesn't create the same thing as THCs, and in fact we don't really know exactly how it works. There are a couple of thoughts. One is that it binds to a receptor that we actually haven't discovered yet, and the other thought around it is that it helps the normal endocannabinoids not get broken down, so enables them to work more effectively. Either way, we're not sure how, but without doubt, CBD is giving us some therapeutic benefits without the THC or without the high or psychoactive stuff. Obviously, when you're treating animals, anything that's psychoactive is not even ethical, let alone legal, because we can't explain what's happening to them in their brain. So to be able to treat our animals, we need something that provides none of the THC type qualities, but as much of the CBD qualities as we can. Okay, so now we know the difference between hemp and normal cannabis or marijuana, that they contain THC and CBD and we're also now aware of our own internal system that these things work on. So let's put all that together now and work out, how do I decipher the products that are on the market and which ones are good to buy, which ones may be useful for me and which not. So the first thing I'm going to look at is hemp oil. You can see hemp oil everywhere. Now, obviously there are different legal stances in different countries, let alone different states here in Australia. So any of the oils that you see that is very freely available, supermarkets, health food shops, etc., is most likely hemp seed oil. So this doesn't have the whole plant, and it actually doesn't have any cannabinoids in it at all. Now, this in no means says it has no value or no benefit, because it definitely does. But know that this is the seed oil, not the plant oil. Hemp oil is likely to contain zero THC. In fact, should contain 0 to undetectable THC in it. So there will be no high. You will only get some of the benefits of the hemp seed oil, which are the fact that the hemp seed oil contains all of the amino acids. So it's a really lovely little protein addition. Has a really good omega profile, particularly for people. For horses, that omega profile is slightly different, and I do refer you to my hemp oil video on that, but it does have a lot of anti-inflammatory omegas in it that are very helpful for horses. It's normally in a carrier oil called MCT, which is a medium chain triglyceride. And this oil in itself has its own little benefits, and research has actually even shown that MCT can help reduce seizures in people. So it does have its own benefits as well. But the main thing here is, yes, it's beneficial, but you're not getting any CBD, you're not getting any THC. It is just a great beneficial oil, the hemp seed oil or hemp oil. So now we move on to the CBD oil. CBD is sometimes called a full spectrum oil, and what this means is it's actually the oil from the whole hemp plant. Now remember, just the fact that we're calling it hemp means it has little to no THC in it. So again, no psychoactive properties in CBD oil. One of the benefits of the CBD oil is that because it contains the whole plant, it can sometimes evoke what we call an entourage effect. So the full spectrum, the CBD, gives you this entourage effect, which means that it all works together in, I guess, the perfect amounts and combinations to give you an accelerated or increased effect than if you were to take any of the parts of this separately. So in Australia, your vet is the best place to get the CBD oil from. The vet will know there's no THC in that because it will come from a reputable manufacturer. This CBD oil has so many effects on so many different systems, as you can imagine, with some of those systems I talked about at the beginning, that sometimes this is simply worth a go. Obviously in conjunction with your vet, but a really good example that I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of is actually just a friend's horse who had young horse warts on their mouth, and within 3 days of applying this topically, they've disappeared completely. And any of you who know about a wart problem in young horses knows that 3 weeks is quite a short time for them to disappear. So there's a lot of things that are worthwhile trying both the hemp seed oil and the CBD oil on, and they can both be used either orally or topically. So you can also get a lot of benefits by just rubbing the oil externally, perhaps even on wounds or any other skin issues, itchiness that you might like to try it on, as well as getting the internal effects by taking them internally. So to sum this up, once you know the terms, you know what you're looking for. If you are looking for a general oil for protein, fiber, maybe anti-inflammatory benefits, you're simply looking at some raw hemp seed oil. If you're looking to impact the endocannabinoid system of your horse, then you're going to be looking for CBD drops. Remembering when you're reading the label, you need a statement about THC. You need a statement about the CBD content. Now, in horses, be aware that CBD is actually a swabbable substance. So a good way to deal with this is, I don't know, you may want to see if it helps your horse with anxiety, mood, digestive system problems. But if you're doing that, be aware that if you're going into competition, there's going to be a period of time that you probably want to stop using any full spectrum or CBD drops or oil on your horses. Hemp seed oil, however, should be fine. So how do you know what to buy? Relook at those terms so you know what you're looking for. Understand that your random hemp oil that you're buying from anywhere is likely to be hemp seed oil and not give you the benefits of the CBD. The CBD oil in Australia should be purchased from a vet. And any of these should be purchased from a large and reputable manufacturer. There's a lot of dodgy business going on in the hemp world, so I don't want you to be getting the wrong things or things that are so, I guess, dilute that they're not going to give you any benefit anyway, and all you're doing is sending money to the wrong people. The other point of interest is it's really ideal to make sure that your products are sourced within the country of origin. So for example, in Australia, you really want to buy a product where the hemp seeds have been sourced from Australia. If they're not, of course, they're a biological material that comes in through customs and are probably irradiated and denatured. So they can talk about how, I guess, organic or natural they are. But if you're importing those hemp seeds, they're not quite as natural as you might like. So if you're in Australia, you probably want to have a look at products where the hemp seeds are sourced from Australia. And in any other country, the same sort of rules applies depending on what happens to your biological products as they're imported into your country. But it's definitely something to be looked at and observed in the labels. I really hope this has been helpful. Thanks for sticking through it. If you like it and find it useful, don't forget, please share it around. Click on that subscribe button if you haven't already, the notification bell, so that you know when I'm releasing a video next time. And I will speak to you all next week.